Today we are reviewing the S.H. Figure Arts Super Saiyan Vegeta Dangerous Pride, as you can see there. And of course, the side of it's the Super Saiyan Vegeta Dangerous Pride as well. Of course, the classic dynamic movable shoulder system on all the new 3.0s. Japanese Mumbo Jumbo. Of course, the Tamashii Nations sticker, right? I think that's what it is. No, Toei Animation, my bad. My bad. Of course, Dragon Ball Z, Tamashii Nations, Bandai. The quality, Tamashii Nations quality sticker there. And of course, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Dangerous Pride, and Japanese, couple poses. Of course, the back of it, as we can see here, super action. Simple style and heroic action. Super modeling. Stuff like that. That's not racist. I'm not being racist. I have a huge respect for Japanese people and culture. That's not racist. Not racist. Dynamic movable shoulder system. Of course, Super Saiyan Vegeta Dangerous Pride up there. QR code. This awful sticker that I hate. Bandai. Of course, weird little code thing. Dynamic articulation enables recreation of iconic action sequences from the anime. S.H. Figure Arts Super Saiyan Son Goku, the games begin. Yeah, just sold separately, that kind of stuff. And I don't feel like reading that. A full array of interchangeable hand and face parts allow for expressive portrayal of the anime. Of course, this, we already showed that. Of course, as you can see here, extra feet, another hair sculpt, a couple face plates, and then in here, crossed arms, and a couple different hands as well. So, I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to get this guy opened, and I will be back in a second. Alright, so here we have Super Saiyan Vegeta and all of his accessories splayed out, and of course, like I said, I got him out of the box. So let's go ahead and take a look at Vegeta for starters. He has, of course, straight out of the box, he has this smiling head sculpt, which is very nice. And then, of course, the hair. Why am I talking about the hair? He has the normal hair, not the windswept hair, out of the box as well. He also has the non-gold toed gold. I feel like they're not brown, they're gold. They're definitely gold. The non-gold toes, the gold ones are back there, of course. And then, of course, here's the back of him right here. Side profile. Now, of course, back to the front of him. So let's go ahead and remove this plastic. Very satisfying thing to do. I love removing the plastic. Very nice. Alright, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we can go ahead and check out his articulation. Of course, he can go, that's actually pretty far. He can go about that far forward, which is very nice. That's a really good range, that far forward. And then, let's see, how far can you get him to go back while he's holding? He can go about that far back, assuming, like, if we're not going to count the legs moving, then he can go that far back. And if we are counting the legs moving, then he can go that far back. And then, of course, you can do like all this if we count the legs moving on the front. So, we don't count the legs moving usually. Alright, and then of course he can turn like this. He cannot turn 360, I don't think, with the ab crunch because of the way that this hangs down like that. He can't do 360, which is fine. Also, the diaper piece is a soft rubber, as we can see right here. And this part right here as well is a soft rubber. I don't know, you can see me push on that right there, but you can't really see me push on this, but I promise you it's a soft rubber. The rest is plastic, but I appreciate these being soft so that you can bend them and stuff. Very nice. And then he can do a 360 with the bottom of it, though, of course, with the bottom swivel. It's also a crunch. I don't know what this would be called. I guess it's not an ab crunch. It's, I don't know, pelvic crunch, maybe? I'm not, that doesn't sound right, but whatever. And then also, fun fact, his shoulders do that. You see? His shoulders will come up so that you can lift his arms up more, which is nice. I'm pretty sure these are plastic. Nice. Yeah, they're plastic. Oh yeah, and they can do it in the front too, which is also nice. And then of course the other side does it as well. So you don't really have to worry about these breaking a whole lot. I still wouldn't like try to break them, but they shouldn't break. I mean, they're hard plastic, so. And then of course his arms out. His arms go this far out and this far out. His legs can go out this far. He can basically do the splits like that. And then if you turn them like this, of course, you can do the splits like that. Look at me, nope, you can't even see that. Camera can't even see it. Look at me, I'm a dancer. Right? And then, of course, both of the legs have... Ooh, that one's a little bit tight. Nice. This one is not. But this one is a little bit tight. The knee joint, there we go. The knee joint's a tickle bit tight on this one, but we'll get over it. Of course, they can both go over 90 degrees. I mean, what? That's 90? I don't know what degree that is. Whatever. Whatever. And then, of course, the elbows can go over a little bit over 90. Not too far over 90, but enough. Enough over 90. Of course. The other elbow is the same. And then, of course, he has the neck joint down here and a head joint up top. Ball joints on both of them, which is very nice and buttery smooth. Yeah, I do just have to mention that literally every articulation spot in this figure is buttery smooth. Like, buttery smooth. And then, of course, the ball joint for the hands because they're interchangeable. And then, I mean, I think that's most of the articulation covered. Yeah. And then, of course, the foot, right? That, of course, it's the ball joint. It's like the hands. And then, of course, toe, movement. Sure, toe movement. Toe articulation, whatever you want to call it. Push that back down. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we have to cover about the articulation for this figure. Very nice articulation, buttery smooth. Now we can take a look at the face plates. Alright, focus, there we go. As you can see here, a screaming face plate, very nice. Of course, the indented mouth is always very good. Very lively looking sculpt here, I would say. You can see like the eyebrows, and of course the eyebrows are out. They're a little bit outed, like they're 3D, everything is 3D, of course. The nose, all that fun stuff. The ears are also surprisingly detailed if you look at them, which is pretty funny to me. I just, like, never really look at the ears on S.H. Figure Arts, now I did, and it's, like, actually kind of really detailed for no reason. And then, of course, this one, which is a grunting side eye. Anymore. Of course you can see same eyebrows, ears, everything like that. But, ooh, focus. There we go. But, there we go. It really does not want to focus on the faceplate. Okay. As you can see here, of course, the bombastic side eye, the grunting mouth. And, yeah, very good faceplate as well. It's just the side eye. I genuinely hate the side eye. And another side eye. Half of the faceplates for this figure are side eyes, which is incredibly annoying. Anyway, yeah, of course this one is a left face side eye instead of the right that the other one is. So at least you're giving us a tickle bit of variety, I guess. But this is sad because this is the only, like, kind of neutral mouth for this figure, and it is a side eye. Yeah. That's a little bit annoying. But, yeah, of course, the neutral mouth, all the same facial features, and then the slightly less angry eyebrows and stuff. And go, very nice head sculpt. Like, all the head sculpts are nice, but I just hate the side eye, personally. Alright, now, we can look at the hair, yeah? Hair sculpt. Of course, as you can see here, this one is another wavy hair sculpt, like in the, what is it called? I can't remember. Whatever the Goku is. Yeah, whatever the Goku is, the new 3.0 Goku. Wavy hair sculpt right here. You can see it like that. Back profile, of course, it still has the same weird, like, back, neck peg, instead of the one on the top, which is still just so annoying and weird to me. Like, I think they just did it so that I can't use other head sculpts on my figures, honestly. I think that's probably the only reason why they did it. But whatever. Pretty nice hair sculpt. I'll probably keep the regular one on just because I like the neutral hair a tickle bit better, but, you know, I gotta stop saying a tickle bit. And then, of course, the classic crossed arm, which comes with practically every Vegeta ever, which is very nice. I feel like it wouldn't be a proper, like, Vegeta if he didn't have a arms crossed piece, if we're being honest here. Of course, nice little details. The inside looks like that. And then this time the pegs are in this side of the things instead of on the shoulders of the figure, which is interesting. I kind of like that better, if I'm being honest. Because it leaves less of a chance for my shoulder pegs to break, and because there are no pegs, it's less of a chance for the shoulders to break than it is for this to break. Because in the originals, you kind of get scared the shoulder pegs are going to break like all the time. But now, at least you don't have to worry about that. You do have to worry about these breaking, but this is obviously not as important as the shoulders are. So whatever. Alright, now we can look. It looks like he has 5 sets of hands, which is pretty good. That's, yeah, that's about the same amount as most other Vegetas, I think. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. These ones look to be, of course, blast hands. But like the curly blast hands, not the flat out ones. Which I probably like the flat out ones more than the curly ones, if I'm being honest. I don't know why, but whatever. Very nice. Of course, you can see all of the nice little details on the fingers and stuff. Very, very nice. Hand sculpts, sure, hand sculpts. And then next we have these flat. Let me see if I can. Here we go. These flat ones, of course, the flat ones, yeah, flat ones, yeah, the, flat blast hands, which are, I'm not sure what attack they're used for, but I do know he really likes doing these. I think they're for the Big Bang attack, if I remember correctly. I think he does the Big Bang attack with these. So, I don't know if he uses that in the Cell Saga. I can't remember. He probably does. I think he does, actually. Yeah, he probably does. Anyway, yeah, the Big Bang attack hands, which are very nice. Do love me some Big Bang attack. And then, of course, he has his classic fighting pose hands, like Goku does. Pretty much. I mean, of course, the same, like, finger details and everything, but on a set of fighting pose hands, which is very nice. I do appreciate that they give Vegeta these. Very nice, very nice. And then, of course, my favorite blast hands, the splayed out blast hands instead of the flat ones. And I do like the 3.0 splayed out a whole lot more than the 2.0 splayed out. Because I actually, real fast, as you can see here, same details on the fingers and everything. I actually have the old budget release 2.0 Super Saiyan Vegeta right by me. And as you can see, the 2.0 Flat Blasty hands are not as good. They're like too flat and it's just not. They're weird. They look like if you like, they look like they're breaking their fingers, and it's very odd. But yeah, the new one is much better. Like as you can see, it kind of like curls inward towards the end, which is much nicer in my opinion. I don't like how flat the old ones were. Like look at that. New ones are much better. Anyway, now that I brought up the original Super Saiyan Vegeta, the 2.0 one, here he is. As you can see, we're going to be doing a comparison really quick. Of course, before we do the comparison, move both of these guys out of the way, we can take a small look at the shoes. As you can see here, of course, pretty much the exact same mold as the classic white ones, but instead of course, white tips, it has these little indentations and is painted gold to, of course, resemble the these tipped ones that you get a little bit later in the Cell Saga. So before we do a review, not review, before we do the comparison, we can do, we can go ahead and we can put on the shoes, yeah? Try to do this as quickly as possible. Okay. That's actually not as hard as I thought it would be. It's not very hard. It's not very hard. Alright. As you can see here, we got the new shoes on. And, compare them, yeah? Of course, the new head sculpt and everything is so much better. It's insane. Like, look at the old one compared to the new one. Like, look at this. Holy, man. It's just insane. Even if we swap out the face to a smiling face, like the Dangerous Pride one has, it's still just so much better. Like, look at this. Look at how much better the new one is. Insane. Also, the new one is a little bit more accurate because he is just a little bit shorter than the original 2.0 one. You can see here. It's actually more than a little bit. It's like a decent... yeah, that's another bad thing about the original one. The pegs are a little bit loose on the face, on mine at least. I'm not sure about if that's with everyone, but it is a pretty old figure, so it's quite possible that everybody will soon, if not now, be like that. But yeah, as you can see here, he is a couple inches shorter. Not like actual inches. He's like only an inch shorter in real life, but like, you know, in universe, he's probably a decent like couple inches shorter. So that's definitely a little bit more height accurate Vegeta wise, which is very nice. Of course, you can see here, even better demonstrated. That's like a pretty good height difference there. And the back of it, and then the side profiles. The new one is definitely much better than the original. Even the colors are better. This one has more of a matte finish than this one, and a darker, not necessarily darker tone, but, you know, something like that. And, of course, the shiny here is not as good as the matte one. So, there's that, too. I do think it's just not as good as the matte one. I like the matte a whole lot more than the shiny. So, you know, there's that. And, yeah, you can see for yourself, the new one is much better than the original. So, go ahead and get this guy out of the way. Don't need to do that anymore. But, yeah. I figure I should probably just show how the new faces for this guy come off. As you can see here, it's just a faceplate. Like, literally just a faceplate. The, That is so cursed, gosh. But put on the neutral face now instead. And it also does seem like they got rid of the gap issue that was plaguing earlier released versions of this figure. And let me see if I can get this in. Hold up. I may have spoke too soon, but I think I just didn't put it in right like a wiener. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe. Maybe. Alright, I got it. I got it. Just got pushed in. As you can see here, there are not any gaps in the hair, the head sculpt, which is very nice. Earlier outputs of this figure did have gaps, like along here, which would looked awful. But luckily they fixed that with what I assume is a newer production of them. So that's nice. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to go ahead and rate this figure. Yeah, I think like the figure as a whole, again as a whole, is a decent 9 out of 10. I love pretty much everything about it. There's nothing that I really don't like. I mean, I'd say yeah, it's about a 9 out of 10. The articulation is great. The accessories are pretty much all I could ask for, down to the interchangeable feet, which is actually really cool. Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything. I mean, the ab crunch is everything is an improvement over this original figure here. So, yeah, I think the figure as a whole, 9 out of 10. Of course, you can find it on pretty much every major retailer for like $37, which isn't that bad of a deal at all, considering it's only $2 more than the $35 budget release of this, and this one is much worse than this one is in every way, like I already said. So, I mean, yeah, there's that. So, yeah. I'm going to put up some poses with this guy, and of course, the games begin Goku. Of course, the games begin Goku. Put some poses up. Poses? Definitely not poses. Put some poses up with him fighting. Put some poses up with him versus the other 2.0, the old 2.0 Super Saiyan Vegeta. And yeah, just pose this guy around a little bit. But yeah, make sure to like, subscribe, and stick around for the poses if you want. And if you don't care for the poses, then don't. You know, I do have a short up with the poses separately, and of course that will have music because I can't get copyrighted on the shorts as long as I have the music selected. So that's nice. That'll have music. So go check that out if you're not interested in hearing mute poses. But yeah, so like I said, make sure to like, subscribe, check out my other channel, Master Kenway. That houses all of my gaming content and everything. Live streams, yeah, live streams, a couple games, just videos regularly and stuff like that. So yeah, go check that out if you're interested in gaming content, and make sure to like, subscribe, and I will see y'all next time. Goodbye.